Hi and welcome. My name is Ali Hart and I am the host of this podcast, and you're listening and watching How to Build a Creative Business in a Noisy World. I really hope you enjoy the episode. So today we have Jacqueline. Am I saying that your name right?
Yeah, I get Jack.
Yeah. Jacqueline from Seaford Interiors. Sorry, that was a very bad introduction. Do you want to introduce yourself?
You're fine. That's fine. It's lovely to be here, and you're looking great. So you are, and thank you so much for having me on.
Well, it's great to have you. Last year we spoke on my IGTV. And do you know what's really interesting is now they don't have. So Jacqueline is an interior designer, and I was talking to different people last year on IGTV, but you couldn't save it the way you can now. We now have IGTV.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So I had all of these amazing interviews that I'm now bringing people back, to be on the podcast. The good thing is there's a bit more longevity with the podcast, but it's lovely to have you, and thank you. I can see you're in your workspace at the minute.
Oh, thank you. And I love those, and I'm loving these as well, because it's actually introducing people to another audience. And I've actually followed people because of you've had them on, and I've even sort of asked a guy for quotes and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So Brilliant. It's really good. So yeah, it's been really insightful. So thanks so much for that. So
you're welcome. So tell us then a little bit about you. Do you want to just even in a summary a little bit about you?
I am Jacqueline Hamilton from Seaford Interiors. I live here in Seaford. My husband and I went to art college and stuff in England, so I moved away from home when I was 19. I went abroad, sort of work. I did TEFL and things because there wasn't any work whenever I came out of art college. So I did a TEFL, teaching English as a foreign language, and went to
TEFL.
Yeah, and so I did that, and then we went on to Australia and things. And then what ended up happening was it's like, oh my God, how are we going to get a job? He's going to employ us. I've been, to art college and then sort of been traveling, but this is 20 odd years ago when you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we went to London. So that was good, and ended up working in post-production. I started off as a runner and I loved it. It was working in a post-production company, and it was making tea and coffee for celebrities and stuff coming in. It was great fun. I met loads of actors and things like that. But I always wanted to go into props, so I ended up in post-production by default. I shouldn't have answered it. It was a job in The Guardian, for a runner, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for it with the idea that I'll always get in to do props and things, and it ended up not happening. But I always loved interiors, and even whenever I went to art college, whenever I was in the halls of residence, I actually transformed, my wee tiny little cell. It was a cell,
Yeah.
I put the big steel frame sort of windows and stuff. So I put masking tape around it and then painted it, because I knew that I could just pull all that off,
Brilliant.
So, and then whenever I lived in homes and stuff when I was a student, I used to there were they were really lovely period homes, but they'd ripped the lovely fireplaces and stuff out of them, and taken all the features out of them. So I was paint sort of a feature fireplace and stuff on them, just to make it a bit more homely. But so I did my degrees in printmaking, and I'd like to incorporate that at some stage into my interior design, maybe with cushions.
Amazing,
So I wanted to do that. And so I ended up with the post-production. Loved it. It was real party. You can imagine lunches and stuff, and it was super. But then we wanted a family, and we were planning to have a family. My son was born in London.
Right. I do remember this. You tell me this actually.
Yeah. And we were living in this it was a lovely 2-bedroom or 1.5-bedroom apartment. It had its own front door and back door and stuff, but we'd sort of been gutting it. And whenever we actually bought it, we were like, oh my God, this is amazing. And when we started pulling the wallpaper off, the whole walls were coming off with the wallpaper and stuff. So we had to hack off all the plaster. So I love doing it. And my husband, he's a quantity surveyor, so it's his dream as well, doing properties and stuff. So we ended up doing it up, and really got the bug for it. And then we decided to move back home, and we were sitting in London watching all these sort of grand designs, and Tony was like, I really want to build our own house. And I said, yes, let's do it. So we decided to sell our house our apartment in London, and we built this house in Seaford. So we love it. And
when was that then? What year was that?
That was 2006, 2007.
Okay.
So yeah, it's over 13 years ago, and it was such a buzz. And of course, I was pregnant with my daughter Daisy, so it was like Grand Designs because there's always a pregnant woman in
Yes.
and yeah, so I loved it. I really loved it. Just loved the whole thing of it. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to back and retrain to do interiors. So I went back and did a course, and because I always knew about colors and stuff, because you obviously do that in art college and things, but spatial awareness, being able to sort of read plans, to do electrical plans and stuff like that there, it's all really important. So I went back to college and did that. It was great because I was at home for 7 years with my kids and I loved them. But I wasn't doing anything for me, you know, and I was always doing these elaborate parties for them. Do you know what I mean? It was always like, you know, there was like an Indiana Jones party and stuff, and there was like, you know, Moshi Months, you know, we're always doing, and I thought, you know what, I really do need to do something, you know, so.
But also how dreamy. My children talk about the one cake that I've made each of them. So whereas they maybe should have had you.
I wouldn't worry. So yeah, so I've been doing that. So I set up Seaford Interiors 5 years ago, actually. And I'm loving it, and I've met some amazing people, and just this last year as well, just it's incredible. Instagram, it's, you know, I've been posting every day because I know people are at home and they're bored and they want to get on with DIY. So I've been posting ideas and tips and sort of inspiration every day, and just to give people encouragement, you know. And it's unbelievable how many people have met through that and collaborated with, and like yourself, you know, the opportunities have been incredible. So I've loved it.
So 5 years, it's actually younger than I thought then.
Yeah.
Because you've such a wealth and like such a strong client base as well. That's brilliant. So you must have just gone hammer and tongs, did you?
I did. I just let rip as soon as I got there, and it's good actually. I've got repeat clients as well.
That's the best thing about business. That's what you want in your business.
Yeah, they're coming back because you do one room and then they want you to do other things. Then you do stuff for their family, you know, or friends and stuff. And I like it now because I don't have to sell myself. Whenever you're first starting out, you really no projects or anything really behind you, and you're really trying to sell yourself and things like that. Whereas now I go along and meet a client and they know my backlog of work. They know what we can do, you know, and so you're more relaxed, you know, you're more personable as well, you know.
Isn't that one of and that's hard for, I think, the younger generations to see that we didn't have that. And it sounds so old, but you know, that is such a bonus now. Whenever I have teenagers, or the other day there was GCSE students doing a project on me and wanted to know about commissions and about how to start, and actually I was listening to answers again and I forgot to say to them, social media is your tool. It's free, and it reaches everybody. It's on everybody's on their phone now. That is the way the world. So your portfolio can be on your phone.
Yeah, absolutely, because you know, I send that to my kids as well, like, you know exactly what you want to do or have an idea of what you want to do, and you can use social media. I mean, we would have had to pay like advertising. Like social media is it's a free advertising for you.
It is,
you know what I mean?
Marketing.
It's fabulous. It really, really is, you know, and people can tag you and you can tag them and stuff as well. It's incredible, you know. But no, it's going well, and I've got other things that I want to do with it and get bigger and things, but it's all in the pipeline, and it's all your dream, because you have to have your dreams, you know.
Yeah, and patience as well. It is one of those things. I was sending through pictures this morning to Sharon, my PA, of you know, people sitting in a huge space, because at the minute I'm back in the home studio because of lockdown and the kids, but I sent pictures. I said, I'm going to be a real artist, and she says, you do know this makes me laugh because you are a real artist. But you know the way you think, I'm going to be that person surrounded by my paintings someday and not children's toys and amongst them, but
oh no, you are a real artist. You're fabulous. So you are, and I love that there behind you, the ballerinas.
Yes. So tell me then as well, in terms of the customer journey, so a lot of people listening will be wondering how they start with you. Like, what for you, what's your experience of bringing someone from when they first contact you through, and also how has that changed over time? You know, you're saying about more confident and people know your work.
It's just basically someone gets in touch, and it depends how they feel at the minute, Ali, because January I wasn't going to see anyone. I was sort of just sort of staying at home. I was doing sort of online consultation, so it's very much a case of how people feel. So obviously I go masked up, and I you know, sort of say to them that we have to be certain distance and all that there. So it's up to them. I can either meet them at their at their property, or because it can be actually commercial properties as well as just homes. And or we can do an online consultation. So the online consultation is a wee bit more trickier because you've got to rely on their measurements, whereas it's a bit more work for them. They have to measure curtains and stuff and the room size and all, but it's still doable, or maybe they just want paint colors, or maybe they just want cushions, things like that. So I go along and get a real feel for them. You can't really get that with an online consultation either, because you need to rock up to their place and see it really in its fullness, and get an idea of where they are and sort of what they're about. And it's because all clients are all different, like a single person, a couple, a family, all their wants and needs are completely different. So I ask us a lot of questions as well, because you need to know what their interests are. And sort of how to incorporate that into the design, because if they're a really sort of sporty family, they're going to need like a lot of storage for their stuff, whether in a hall or what a utility room and things like that. So it's basically getting to know them and all about them and what their sort of wants and needs are for that actual space,
Great. And then so there's so with me then, there's the initial chat, and then they tell you what they want, and then hopefully they already know my style. And I do so few commissions now anyway, but then we go through that process, and there's a real it's very personal, as you said as well. Do you find once you gather that information, you go away, and then do you give a folio, or what way does it?
Like I also gather like what colors do they love and what colors do they hate, because there's no point in me putting together like a mood board and them of orange and they hate orange, because people have real color aversions as well. I mean, I've spoken about this before, like I don't like maroon because I wore that as my school uniform. I hate the color maroon, so but if someone wants that, that's fine, I'll give them maroon. But so you've got to incorporate that as well, sort of their likes and their dislikes. And sometimes people don't even know maybe what they like either. There may be Pinterest and all is great, but it can be very overwhelming. They're not sure whether they want modern, whether they want Scandi, whether they want traditional. They're not sure. But once you start showing them images of things, then they know what they don't like, and then you can kind of build on that and build like an image and a mood board and things and ideas and sort of, I love it. I love, it's real problem solving as well, problem solving as in how to get so much out of a room, and sometimes rooms maybe need zoned as well. Maybe they're too big and maybe need like a sort of reading area, maybe you need, different sort of, different zones in it as well. So it's really, it's just great. And it's also the feedback as well, but it's also not a case of like they used to have changing rooms. It's actually coming back, changing rooms program, where they used to the interior designers used to like sort of send the people away and then within 24 hours do up their room and then bring the people back and stuff. And sometimes they hated what they'd done. But and the thing is, like, it has to be kind of both, it's like a process the whole way through, you and the client the whole way through. It's got to be a process, and for them not to, you can still put things in that they weren't maybe expecting, or and really adds to it, and that's great. But it has to be a process where they're getting exactly what they want and the look that they want, so
and you're saying about Pinterest there, I remember when I was a photographer, the beauty of Pinterest is that people know what they want, but the other thing about Pinterest is, as you said there, it's overwhelming sometimes, and also people think that's what they want, but also you need to tell them that your space, well, for me, it was like, you don't look like that person. This is not going to be, people will be like, I want this image of me and my, and it's like a supermodel over a bridge with petals streaming down. You're like, we're sorry, we're at a lake by the side of the road on the way to your venue. You're not going to get the same. But there's a kind of what do you call that? Like a distorted. Yes, distorted.
Yeah. But the thing about it is as well that also one couple maybe wants one thing and the other one wants the other, and then that's their loggerheads, and that's where it's good where I come in, because I'm kind of like the sort of middleman, coming in and kind of written through it, so they're not having huge barneys about it, you know what I mean? And it just means that they can blame me. No, we can actually sit down together and get something that's for all of them. Do you know what I mean? That's going to
Yeah.
work well in their space, you know. So
And do you have a favorite style? Like, because I don't know and don't want to project onto what you show of your own, but it's homely, quirky. Like, do you have something that you gravitate to more than any other?
I really like Hampton kind of coastal kind of look. I really do love that, but obviously that's not going to work for everybody, and it's you know, and I love that. But then there's parts of our home as well, like the cinema room, which is red velvets and very Moulin Rouge. Do you know what I mean? As well. So like you have to be. I know a lot of interior designers have a certain look and they kind of go, oh, that's Kelly Hoppen, and that's, you know what I mean? Everybody knows who owns what. It's kind of like an artist as well, you know, because they put their own stamp and they've got their own style. But yes, it does work, but also it's not going to work for everybody. And some people want quirkiness and they don't want to have a Hampton look and they don't want to have a Moulin Rouge sort of cinema room. You know, you've got to gauge it toward their wants and needs, you know, and just take into consideration that things maybe are going to go out of fashion quite soon, because clothes, fashion, food, it's all very, very, very fast. So I kind of want to always give them something that's going to last a good few years, you know, because it is a big, you know, sort of, you know, they don't want the painters in all the time. They don't want to have to be changing curtains all the time either, you know. So I want to give them something that's going to have longevity and sort of classy and sort of, you know, something that they're just always going to love, and it's going to grow with them, you know.
With them, yeah. And do you have a take at the minute on what is trending, like what is trending, or in terms of
very boho at the minute? I've seen it's kind of, and I love it. I really do love it. It's Scandi boho, you know, with like dark colors, with Scandi furniture.
Right, yeah.
Grass is all back in again. I see that people are more towards having rather than flowers, they're having more sort of foliage in their rooms, you know, like sort of, you know, some people even having half a tree in their room, you know, and it looks amazing though, you know. So I think it's also to do with the fact that we're wanting to bring the outside in. Do you know what I mean? And I think this whole year has kind of been wanting that as well, because we have been cocooned in our houses. And yes, I've been walking every day trying to, if the weather's good, but there's days that you're maybe not out of the house because of the weather, or maybe sort of family or homeschooling and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice to see people as well, the patterns with palms and stuff, all that nature stuff is all still very big and still very in, and I can see why, because people are sort of tending towards nature and wanting to bring that into their home.
Yeah, I would say the only pattern in but we've moved house, but the only pattern in my house is the kind of palm tree, or the leaf, or not palm tree, but the leaves, those I don't know, leaf. It's very 70s mine. I quite like modern. Would it be modern? It's sort of mid-century would be what I love.
Some beautiful palm tree artwork as well. I was actually at a client there last year, and she had one of your paintings up. It was coastal property and it looked amazing.
There you go. Yeah, but it's amazing how those trends, you can look in that and see that there maybe is a little bit of a reflection of our current state of play. And then, so tell me a little bit about your take on social media as well. I know I've touched on that, but you do play the social media card in a very good way, in a very authentic, consistent and creative way. And last year, that's when you and I were talking, you were, you know, I think there was like an Easter tree, and I think you're very good at giving value, and that's one of the reasons I warmed to you as well, as you give without expectation. So that's what you said about people are at home and when they're with their kids, how can you get them involved, or get them to feel involved in their own home and enhance their own home?
Yeah, that was kind of like last February, March, decided to sort of start posting every day, and I've loved it, because I think it's also the fear. It's a fear of, what do you think people are going to think of you? Who does she think she is? You know, things like that. And then once you get over that fear, once people are sort of starting to comment, Jack, that's really nice, you really like that, that's lovely, you kind of think to yourself, well, do you know what, I will post that, I will put things on. So it's kind of just by posting every day, and I do love it, because I used to hate social media. I didn't hate it because I didn't know anything about it. I just kind of hated the idea of it, you know, and things like that. So and I hated doing videos, but once you get over it and you just think, well, so what, show up, you know, just be yourself, and if people like you, they like it. If not, then don't worry, that's fine. And but I do really enjoy it, and I think it's been, for me, this last year, it's kind of been like, it's just been like a wee godsend as well, because it's kind of like been like a wee community. If so, you feel like that, I'm sure, with
Yeah.
followers as well. And you know, you comment on them, and then you're looking back at their stuff and what they've done, and you're like, oh, that's lovely, I love what you've done there, and things. And it's just really nice, and it's really encouraging. And it's kind of, because you're not seeing your family and friends, so it's lovely to have that sort of engagement, and I love it. So I do still post every day. I didn't post over Christmas, I took a week off.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. And because I wanted to have a lie-in, you
I
know.
know.
So
You want to just to be. I think sometimes just nice to be, and not even in a bad way. I think that's what I had said over Christmas. Like, I'm going off for a week, which seems to some people like nothing, but when it's your job and it's your marketing, and you do have that community, it is quite a big. It's breaking the habit of lifting your phone and constantly thinking about content. And do you have an idea of the content you're going to do? I know there was cakes, well, or like Mother's Day is coming up. I know this is going to air probably after that, but have you ideas in mind for little tips and tricks there for people in the home? Or
I think that it depends on who. My mum's in our bubble as well, so we will probably. We haven't even discussed what we're going to do with my mum, but we'll definitely see her at some stage, or whether she'll come here and things like that. But just a lovely afternoon tea is so nice, and the kids can do it. Even make just jam sandwiches and have them cut up pretty, It's just.
And will you be putting that online? Will you be doing that as something, do you think?
I will probably. My mum's birthday is actually this Friday as well, so we do afternoon tea for her. So she was 80 last year.
Wow.
So, yeah, but we didn't really get to celebrate it, obviously. So but it's nice. We really got really close this last year, because obviously her and my dad haven't been able to go anywhere, see anybody. So doing their shopping and seeing them pretty much nearly every day, or if not 2 or 3 times a week, and it's been nice to get close to them. But no, Mother's Day, the other thing is as well, it's not a good day for everybody, so you have to sensitive to that as well, so but no, and the good thing is, though, this is a nice part of the year. I love the springtime. We've got so much to look forward to, and it's just that hope, and the daffodils are coming out, and everything's just coming back to life again, and we've got Easter to look forward to. I'll probably be doing Easter things, Easter craft and stuff, I'm starting to introduce that into the home as well, because it's just nice, and it's good for the kids as well to have a wee bit of sort of excitement to look forward to and things,
And it was really good to hear you talk there about social media and about fear, because I do ask everybody about, feeling the fear and doing it anyway, or what advice you would have for a creative starting out. Like, that can be fear just in life in general, or whichever way you interpret that. I liked hearing you say about the, worrying about people think, because I think no matter many times I said to my mentoring students, I said to myself, it doesn't matter, you could die tomorrow, who cares? You still do feel that fear about it. But I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and he was talking about, and the day before, I'm always listening to the business podcast, but one podcast was saying, attract, right? So attract. You can only attract your audience by repelling your other people, and the only way you're going to do it is by stepping into fear. And then the other person yesterday was just saying, like, rejoice in the the fact that you just won't be for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And so what'll happen is, if they don't, they will go to somebody else, or they'll follow something. That's fine, and they can follow you and other people as well. But once you kind of get over that fear, you still have the fear every day. You have the fear of the unknown, and fear of what you're doing, but you just go for it, and you just remember why you're doing it. Always remember why you're doing it. Why did you start out on this path? Definitely that is a big one. And then you kind of grinds you, and you realize that's why, and I love it. And also, just, if anyone's sort of starting out, we talked about this earlier as well, about the whole social media, sure, even if you're in a job and you're not sure about whether you actually want to go ahead or on this journey, just dip your toe in it with your social media and see how that works, and whether it is working, and sort of whether it is something you definitely want to go for. You just go for it, you know. I mean, I was at home for 7 years. I had been out of an office environment. I hadn't been using a computer really in 7 years. I wasn't even on social media. I was like in a little bubble. I don't even know how I did that, you know.
Well, it's great though. I'm sure you look back now and you're happy.
I do love it, and I was very lucky to have that. You know, I was very lucky that I was able to stay at home with the kids for 7 years. But now it's just kind of like, so what I'm saying to you is, it was a big confidence thing for me as well, you know, and I put on a load of weight as well. I damaged my foot, and I just wasn't me. I wasn't me. And I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to go for it, bite the bullet and just go for it. So, and I have done, and I haven't looked back, you know, so just go for it.
Yes. And tell me just then about you went back, you studied then as well. You did it when you finished after those 7 years with the kids. It was a diploma, is that what you said, or what did you do?
I did, yeah, an interior design, yeah. And it was nice to be in amongst creatives again.
Yeah, and what was that like for being, what age were the students there? Was it varied or?
All varied, all different ages. And it was really, really good fun. My tutor, she's a hoot, and I still keep in contact with her as well, you know.
Great.
And it was just nice to be back in a creative environment again, because I'd been out of it for so long. I hadn't held a paintbrush or done anything, you know.
Oh no, you're talking about the diploma, about going back.
No, it was great to be back. And then it's kind of like, you think to yourself, right, okay, so I'll put my Facebook page on, and then the phone will start, and you think, oh, well, as soon as I hit that button, you know, the phone's going to start ringing, and it doesn't ring. Do you know what I mean? So it was kind of like, how on earth am I going to start this? And then what happened was, a lovely friend of mine, she said, look, Jackie, you've got a beautiful home. She said, this is something you and your husband have created, and you've done the interior design, and it's kind of like, you know, your work, you know. So she said, why don't you sort of do like a chalk paint workshop, you know, from your home? And I thought, you know what, you're right, because I'd done like 2 years sort of working, doing art in a nursing home. I loved it. Doing like, I was kind of like a Butlin's red coat, you know. You were kind of like doing bingo with them. Basically, the lady said to me, you do whatever you want with them to keep them entertained. I even did French lessons with them. Like, I would print off like sort of little menus and stuff, and, you know, have it on, so they were sitting on wee tables, you know, and I just things like that. So what had happened was, my friend had said to me, look, Jack, why don't you just do like this chalk painting workshop? And she said they come with a piece of furniture that's small enough to fit in their car, so they're not coming with huge wardrobes and stuff, because they'll be there all day. So it was my good friend Angela McCurdy. Thank you, Angela. And so it was great. So what happens, they would come at 10:30 in the morning. I have tea, coffee, scones all ready for them. I supplied the paint as well. This was for £40 a person, right? Because you've no idea, right?
No.
So you've no idea. And I also put on sandwich platters as well for lunchtime. I had the tea and coffee, you know, and I couldn't get rid of them. I loved them. They were great, but they were staying to 6:30 at night, you know, and it was just the whole day. My husband had, the kids had to be out all day. So, and then I remember the very last one I had, this was the last one, because we're standing there, we were supposed to have dinner in Denver's at 7:00 that evening with friends. And I remember standing there, we went, bye. And the two cars in the driveway just went like that, and they just hit each other in our driveway. And I was like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do here? So both were fine. They was fine. It wasn't very much damage or anything, but I thought to myself, I'm just going through the whole stress of this for nothing. So, but I was able to put the photographs of that on my social media.
And aren't you thankful for it? You know, I just say to everybody, thankful for every part of the journey.
Yeah. So I was able to put the photographs of, how many chalk paint workshops did I have? I'm not sure. I can't remember how many I did have, but I was able to put those on my social media. And then the ladies that had been would comment on them, and then their friends would comment, oh, it looks great. I mean, honestly, a paint just transforms furniture. It just looks amazing. And I didn't even know wee handles and stuff, so they could buy those and things here. But that was a good way. And then sort of slowly from that, then people sort of started to trust you and sort of trust your, you know, for you. And the other thing was just like sort of wee networking groups as well. I joined like Down Business Connect, which is a wee local one here in Downpatrick. And they were great, you know, when I got work through them, and then just great. And then the mums at work was amazing, women in business, you know, it's all about networking as well, but definitely the social media, definitely the social media.
And you do have to start somewhere, you know. I think because you're saying about people coming to your house, but you still had to sell those tickets and get people in. This is what my friend Grace and I were talking about. She was doing big speaking events with her podcast in the States. And we were just saying how people think, oh, they're doing so well, but you don't know, you don't see all the, underneath the surface of trying to get the tickets out there. And for me, it was in-person workshops, like bums on seats, and I used to think the week before, I'm just going to give these tickets away. I couldn't be bothered. But you do have to just start somewhere.
Yeah, and also the timing as well. You've got to look what else is going on in the calendar, because there was one week, I think it was actually one of the workshops that I was doing was landing sort of St. Patrick's weekend as well. So you have to be careful of kind of those things, what else is going on, But no, it was good fun. It was lovely, because I met so many lovely women who still to this day still comment on my posts and things. Some of them have become friends. It's just been lovely. The whole process has been really nice,
And another thing I would say with that is, I'm always saying to people mentoring students as well, that puts you as the expert too. You'll be the go-to. So when someone's having a conversation, say, I would love to do this piece of furniture, how do I do it? Yeah. Oh, well, have you spoken to Jacqueline? Yeah. That's how you're putting yourself out there as the expert in your field.
It is good. I haven't painted furniture for such a long time, because I'm far too old for it now. I just prefer designing.
I don't know. I can't fix it.
Because you have to contort your body and various things. I'm 46 now, you know what I mean? I just do whatever. Although I am doing it for a friend. They've moved into a new home and they've got a coffee table, and I did say I would do it for
Well, but the thing is, it keeps it in the interiors is what I mean. If you're still in the area of interior, you're still talking about that which you know about.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been great. But it just shows you, like, it is all baby steps. Nobody's going to come to you and say, right, I want you to do my house, at the very start. Nobody, they have to see your backlog and sort of see, what you're about and what you can do. So, but I'm loving it. I mean, the last time I was talking to you, Ali, was we were doing the hotel in Downpatrick for Denver's, and obviously that all had to come to like a standstill because of the whole COVID, But we finished that off. So I'm getting ready to go back and take photographs of that. So whenever everything opens up again, so it'll be good to kind of share that.
Well, that's good, because that was my next question. I was going to say, have you any current projects that you want to talk about? So that's fab.
No, it is. It's wonderful. It's Denver's it's an old coaching inn in Downpatrick. It's 1600s, and it's a listed building. So I did their restaurant before. They're lovely people to actually work for. I know Stephen and Chris really well. So I had done their restaurant, and then Stephen had said to me that through the Downpatrick Trust, there was a building in the corner opposite the Down Arts Centre, and that they were looking at doing that with the Downpatrick Trust to sort of, have, because there's 6 bedrooms in Denver's, but obviously there's no other hotels, So what we did was actually there's 13 bedrooms. 13 sleeping, so 2 of them are apartments. So that was good fun as well. So I was doing that last year, and it was just great. It was good fun, and just a lovely project to be involved in, and met a lot of local trades guys as well, and no, it was good. So I'm really looking forward to come back and actually taking some photographs and promoting that, so.
Yeah, and how are you feeling about COVID and lockdown and everything? We're in Northern Ireland at the minute, so quite a few people who aren't from here. We've just been given a thing in inverted commas, I'm saying pathway. I haven't even looked at it, but from what I gather, it doesn't tell us very much. But are you hopeful about everything, or how are you feeling?
Well, I think we're nearly a year through it, so we're nearly there. And just this bit of spring and this weather and all, it's been amazing. It's been fantastic. So
yeah, the winter was long, wasn't it? I felt
it was long. I think January was bad for everybody because everybody couldn't wait to get to 2021.
Oh no.
And then it was like,
nothing changed.
Nothing changed. So I think January then was a very long kind of month for everybody as well. I mean, it's a pretty depressing month anyway. So, but no, it's fine. I mean, it is what it is. I don't think, if I had known this time last year it was going to be a year, I think it would have been, oh my goodness, full of dread. But I'm quite an optimistic sort of person, and positive, so you've just got to go with it, So
brilliant. And just lastly, before we wrap up, are there any are you reading anything at the minute?
I'm not.
That's okay.
There's a couple of self-help books that I've got that I haven't, that I'm about to start reading.
Okay. Business related, or?
Yeah, Napoleon Hill, The Science of Getting Rich. I've got that.
That's a great one.
I've got about 3 or 4 different ones that I have to read, and I am going to read them. That's my thing.
You should listen to that one. Not you should. I hate when people say you should, but I listened to the Napoleon one on audio, and it was a man talking like this, but it was actually brilliant. It was like, if he can say that with whatever year, then I can do it in 2021.
It's like the 1800s. There was Wallace Wattle as well, so I've got his book as well. I think he was in around the same time, or just before Napoleon Hill.
There you go.
So I've got both of those on the go. So it's not the science of getting rich as in money. It's the science of getting rich as in your personal.
Just happiness.
I'm not a money grabber. Do you know what I mean? So, but no, it is. It looks good, and so I've got my little notebooks and stuff to sort of start taking notes and all.
Love that. So, brilliant. You're making everything look so organized there.
Well, yes, it is, of course. What do you call it? So I had to move a few things.
Even the way people in the podcast won't see how Jacqueline has just gracefully moved her hand, just move a few things there, whereas I'm scrambling all the time to just move.
I always check before going to Zoom, what can the people see behind me, and I had a mirror, I had cushions, I had like foliage and stuff. It just looked really bad. So
it looks great,
because we are messy, we are creatives, do you know what I mean? And
no matter what I do, and I like, you know what I mean, I'm 37 now, and I've been self-led from I was in art college, and then 11, nearly 12 years of business, and I literally do one thing. Like today I lifted up 2 paintings that were from Monday's Wednesday, sitting underneath, then another commission, not the commission, but the image that I'm working from underneath that. Then on top of that, I find, but the boys come in, you see, and move stuff, but I can't really blame them.
I remember my mum, whenever I was doing my GCSE and A-level art at home, I remember like my mum was constantly fed up with me with stuff on the kitchen table. And I was like, oh, for God's sake. I think she was glad then whenever I moved to England and didn't go to art college in Belfast. And so my husband's the same. So he's glad that I'm in here, but I do wander into the kitchen sometimes.
So I go to the table.
But it's just the way it is, but I have started to get more organized, I am, and obviously I am not too bad, but I am pretty messy, but I won't show up.
No, I think it's okay to be creative messy, whereas like behind there, I have my list of my commission. I'm organized, we're organized in our own way, but I mean in terms of how we work, how we put together, and also people who are not creatives don't understand the amount of stuff we have.
I know. Yeah.
You think about those books and all behind you, is a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I have these in my Mini. I drive a Mini, and I have all of these books in my Mini to take with me to clients. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not exactly sure what sort of look they're after, for maybe curtains and stuff as well. So I bring them all with me. And like sometimes, and I do need a van. I definitely need a van.
A friend of mine, Susan, who's also an interior designer, I had her in the podcast a year or 2 ago, and we were laughing about how I just remember whenever she had her boys were small, but in her book you would open it up and the same thing, there'd just be books like, oh, what materials have you got? What wallpapers are in there today?
I know it's apples. You'll hear tiles clattering about whenever you break and things. There's always something. But it's good. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still learning, and I'm still excited about it. Whether it be like the listed building where you are kind of restrained, or a brand new building, I just have the same passion for both, for both projects. So
yeah, I think you can tell that as well, your enthusiasm, and as you're saying, positivity too. But thank you for sharing. It'll be really inspiring for people to listen to, that they can do it, and you can start off somewhere and still end up doing what you want, and be still pushing forward with that. So thank you.
Just go for it. Yeah,
brilliant. And where can people find you then?
Seaford Interiors. I have my own website, seafordinteriors.co.uk. On Instagram and Facebook. I'm on Twitter, but I don't really use it so much, so it's not really a creative platform. But just message me, and if you're interested in me having a chat with you about a project. So I'm pretty, as you can see, I'm very relaxed and I'm very personal. So
brilliant. Well, thank you. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed the episode, I would really appreciate some feedback, or for you to hit subscribe so that you get all the content every week in your inbox. And if you would like to check out my website, it's alihart.com, especially if you were thinking about needing some mentoring sessions, because I have openings coming up in the summer. Thanks for watching and listening, and I will see you on the other side.